So a few days ago, I did this drawing board planning for the garden, and I just did a layout of the garden. Doesn't have to be at scale, but a rough estimate of where the things are, trees, where the fences are, where the garden beds are, and then wherever the spots are available, or wherever best I think, based on the location, the type of soil that we have, the amount of sunlight for that area, I plot out where we can plant the new plants, and including the bulbs that we're planting today. And I'm a visual learner, so it helps me a lot to see things on a board or in a paper, so that when I go out there, I just go ahead and do it. And of course, when you're out there, when your hands are muddy, you're holding the tools, you just either see this or look at the picture of it to get reminded of how you wanted the planting to be. And it saves you time, it helps you get organized, it makes it easier to give yourself some time to plan ahead versus just going out there and doing it without a plan. I think it helps you consider many other factors ahead of time without getting rushed, and I like doing that. So before you do anything with your garden, maybe you can do it in an Excel file or a sketch in a bond paper, drawing paper. I think it helps a lot. It goes a long way to save you time and save you errors or mistakes in the future. So I have in here 3 types of tulips, and these are the first tulips that we are planting this fall. The first one is the tulips fringe black, and if you saw our previous video, these bulbs were left to stay on the ground until middle summer. So these ones have bigger bulbs and has also split more compared to the Queen of the Night and the Secret Perfume, which we have to move early because of the changes that we did on the main garden. So I'm putting it in such a way that I can highlight the Queen of the Night. So I'm gonna plant them in here below this privacy bee hotel, or planned bee hotel, because I haven't finished it yet. I'm gonna put it here in the hopes that it would naturalize and perennialize over the years. And just so you know, the Queen of the Night, these bulbs, they hold a special place in my heart, because I bought these bulbs last year, a few months or a few weeks after my father passed away. And the Queen of the Night, I chose them because back when I think I was at the university, I was still living with my parents, and my dad, who is an avid big gardener, is my first gardening teacher. He saw this Queen of the Night tulips from one of the magazines that my sister brought from Australia. So one time he asked my sister to bring him some bulbs, and he did his best to try growing tulips, those bulbs, in the Philippines. But so he put it in the fridge, so it would have that cool temperature before planting, just to mimic spring, because we don't have spring in the Philippines. It's a tropical country. So he did all that. He also, I remember he cooked the soil just so to rid it of any bacteria or viruses that could easily kill the bulbs. But unfortunately, the bulbs still didn't sprout because the rodents got into it first. So that was one of the things I do remember. So the Queen of the Night tulips hold a special place in my heart because of that. So now I bought these bulbs last year, and I'm dedicating it to my late father. And I'm planting them again this year, but this time hopefully they would, I can leave them on this space for years, and hopefully they would perennialize and naturalize in this space. So let's do that. It's fall, so it's the best time to plant tulip bulbs for spring flowering. And in here we dug up 4 to 6 inches of a trench. A good rule of thumb is to dig 2.5 to 3 times the height of the bulbs that you're planting. Alright, so like most tulip bulbs, especially tulip bulbs, they're very prone to rodents and getting taken out of the ground by squirrels. So one thing that's very beneficial is to add blood meal and bone meal if you can. And this is what I have. It's the blood meal, Gulf Green blood meal and bone meal. So I'm using this because here in our garden we have a lot of voles, and because we're very close to canola fields, and this area used to be farmlands, so you always find them, and we're having problems with them once in a while, but we're trying to control them. So what the blood meal does is it's powdered animal blood and also powdered animal bones, the bone meal. And what we do is just sprinkle some of it in here, and yes, it does smell. It does smell pretty bad, and rodents don't like that. It reminds them of rotting flesh. There you go. So a bit of some blood meal and bone meal in there would help deter pests like voles or squirrels. So first, we're planting our Queen of the Night. I only have very little here. So I have 1, 2, 3. Really, just 3. And I only bought, I think I only bought 3 bulbs. So I have 3 good ones, 3 big, good sized ones, or 4. The rest are a bit small, but that's okay. In due time, they should be able to grow and divide in this space. This is, actually it's not black, it's very dark maroon, I would say. Yeah, I think it's the darkest that we have in the tulip world at the moment. So I have more of the secret perfume. So I'd like to have the Queen of the Night in the middle. That should be dark, and then you have secret perfume, which is almost white. So honestly, they're stacked up too close to each other. But since most of them are small anyway, I'll just do it this way. That should be good for our secret perfume. And then the rest will have the fringe black. These ones are way bigger and way healthier because they were left to grow the bulbs longer on the ground. plant your bulbs, especially for gardeners new to tulips or bulbs, make sure that the pointy end is facing up and the other side is facing down, because this is where the roots would come out, would grow out, and this is where the sprouts would, the leaves would come out. There you go. I mean, if in case during the process you had your bulb turned this way, it'll just grow right up anyway. But then you'll have shorter flowers. So before I do the last layer, I'll put in a dash of blood meal again, just to keep the rodents away. So you'll notice that where I planted the tulips, I also planted some hardy grapes at the base. So the goal is to have the grapes climb this, use this privacy structure as a trellis, and I don't know where it can go once it reaches the top, but that would be a nice addition, a natural covering for this structure, for this coffee space, which is on this corner outside the camera. So that's it. I'm gonna water this as soon as I'm done with all the bulbs, and if all goes well, if we survive the rodents, the wildlife stress, they should come up by spring next year with beautiful flowers.